A battle tonight over a mural at the border honoring deported veterans.
They asked me if I could paint it paint away the stars so it wouldn't look like an American flag.
Why some want this painting of an upside-down American flag to go away.
Plus, a fire breaks out at a building that neighbors describe as a growing problem. New tonight, we're learning what the future holds for the building that used to house El Cajon police.
And a dream home leads to a daily traffic nightmare. In tonight's Make It in San Diego initiative, the growing problem that has a San Diego family ready to pack up and move. But we begin with breaking news. A brush fire near Temecula now burning 800 acres.
Brian Schlotze is in the 10 News Live Center with the latest details on this. Brian.
Well, Steve and Lindsay, this brush fire just exploding in size. It came in as just an 8-acre grass fire. Now you mentioned 800 acres. And you see here CAL FIRE helicopters doing water drops, grabbing this water from the nearby Diamond Valley Reservoir. I want to flip now to some video so you can see what this thing looks like. Again, burning 800 acres in Riverside County. That's Winchester to be exact. It's being called the Patterson Fire. There's a light breeze there. That's what helped fuel these flames, make it even bigger. Already 6 homes have been evacuated. 1 building has been destroyed. There are 70 firefighters there on the ground helping to battle these flames. We do have a containment update for you here. 20% contained now, but again, exploding in size, 800 acres there in Riverside County. Guys.
It's an hour. That is an explosion of fire. Thank you, Brian. Hey, the national spotlight is back on the border, this time over paint. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena, filling in for Kimberly Hunt. It's this upside-down American flag that's in danger of going away. But tonight, advocates for deported veterans are speaking up to save it. 10 News reporter Cassie Carlisle is live at the border. And Cassie, those advocates tell you the mural in Mexico is free speech.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Mexico side of the border, the wall is just covered in paint, but it's this particular mural that's getting a lot of attention. In Friendship Park, an upside-down flag stands as a reminder.
Like a SOS, like in the military, if you're being overrun by the enemy or, and part of that was like, we need help.
Help for veterans to get back to their families after they were deported.
I think veterans should do their time or should receive some kind of treatment instead of deportation. Yeah, if you get in trouble.
In Tijuana, Hector Barajas not only co-founded the mural in 2013, he's helped 375 deported veterans in Mexico through his shelter and resource center. As a deported veteran himself, seeing this flag gave him hope before he was pardoned and allowed to come back home.
The crosses of people that make the sacrifice, that seek the American dream, but we've also had veterans that have died on this side of the border, so there's different meanings that you can take.
That particular part of the mural drawing the attention of the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol.
They asked me if I could paint it paint away the stars so it wouldn't look like an American flag.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol said in a statement they've received complaints about some of the graffiti and are investigating whether it's just that, graffiti, or sending a political message.
It should be free speech. Yeah, you should be able to do anything with that flag.
And U.S. and Customs Border Patrol told me that they do not have a timeline as to when or if the mural will be painted over. When it comes to who owns the border wall, that is federal government property, and they could repaint it if they want to. Reporting live in San Ysidro, Cassie Carlisle, 10 News.
Interesting controversy. Thank you, Cassie. The man accused of murdering 2 people at Mountain View Park could face the death penalty. Elliot Williams pleaded not guilty to both counts of murder today. Police say that Williams got into an argument with Tony Jackson earlier this month, and they say he killed Jackson and Robert Brown about an hour later. Shannon Bryant, who is also charged with that murder, is accused of being Williams' getaway driver. It's up to the district attorney to decide if the death penalty will be on the table if the men are convicted. They're scheduled to be back in court later this month.
Now to a follow-up over how San Diego police handled the 911 call from a mother whose daughter was kidnapped and shot 3 times at Sunset Cliffs. That mother told 10 News she called police after getting several ransom calls, and she claims that officers brushed off her calls for help.
I called the 911 number and they hung up on me. They told me that this was not an emergency.
So we asked SDPD what happened. They told us the mother called them twice and spent more than a half hour talking to a dispatcher. But the dispatcher was given very little information and used all the resources available to find the girl, including calling her cell phone.
Right now, San Diego police officers are talking about what's being done to prevent gang violence, such as those in Mountain View and Sunset Cliffs. The Commission on Gang Prevention and Intervention is holding a public meeting at the Mission Valley Library. Now, this comes just 2 weeks after 5 people were shot downtown. That shooting is also being investigated as gang-related. Coming up tonight on 10 News at 7, we're going to let you know what Chief Nislight says the department is doing to curb that gun violence.
3 men are behind bars tonight over a nearly 20-year-old murder. Lee Ray Parkins was attacked in a North Park alley back in 2000. He died 3 days later. And yesterday, U.S. Marshals arrested Lester Bell, Terrence Brown, and Edward Brooks for his murder. They were caught in other parts of the country and are waiting to be extradited to San Diego.
Mayor Faulkner has released his revised budget proposal, and city council members are said not to be happy with some of the changes. The spending plan totals $1.45 billion. It also includes $700,000 for infrastructure projects that can be used at the city council's discretion. But one budget review committee member that isn't enough says that's not enough, even for the basics like sidewalks and streetlights. There are also questions about the funding for tree trimming, which was reduced by $882,000.
The results from January's homeless census are in, and the numbers show an improvement over last year. There are 8,576 homeless people in the county. That's a 6% decrease from 2017. Here's how the numbers break down by region. 57% of the homeless population is in the city of San Diego. 23% is in the North County, 7% in the South Bay, and 13% in the East County. The annual count helps lawmakers understand which strategies are working as we try to solve our homeless crisis. It's also critical to securing about $20 million in federal funding for housing and services.
A bill that could create more affordable housing in San Diego is now heading to the state Senate. California's Sustainable and Affordable Housing Act was unanimously approved by the state assembly. It would prioritize complexes close to public transportation and allow more smaller units to be built. And at least 20% of the units would be available to individuals making less than 50% of the median income for the area. And that would come out to roughly $31,000 a year in San Diego. There is no word yet when the state Senate will consider that bill.
There's new information tonight about the future of this former El Cajon police station. Neighbors say the abandoned building has been a problem for years, and just today it caught fire for the second time since 2015. It is right next to the Home Depot on Fletcher Parkway and Magnolia Avenue. 10 News reporter Jeff Lasky took the neighbors' concerns to the city to find out how they plan to address it.
This used to be El Cajon Police Headquarters, but they moved out in 2011. They put up this fence to try to keep people out, but you can see it's clearly not doing the job.
Smoke poured out of the building after it caught fire this afternoon. Whitney Crotty spotted it while driving on the 67.
And I smelled the smoke and saw some of it, so I went ahead and doubled back around to see where it was coming from.
It was coming from this long abandoned building on Fletcher Parkway across from the mall. Crotty watched as firefighters went to work.
You saw thick, heavy black smoke coming out from both sides of the building.
Smoke wasn't the only thing coming out of the building. About a dozen squatters raced outside. Sky 10 spotted them talking with police. They were detained for questioning, then released. None were hurt, although one was treated for an asthma attack. And this isn't the first fire here. 10 News was at this same building for the same reason in 2015. One person was hurt that time. 3 years later, the building is still standing and still empty. And Crotty says she's seen a surge of transients moving into the area.
They're squatting outside of businesses. They're getting aggressive. They have weapons. It's becoming a really big problem, and it's been one already, but it doesn't seem like it's being properly addressed.
But until then, the threat that this will happen again remains. In El Cajon, Jeff Lasky, 10 News.
A deadly crash in the College area is slowing traffic on the 8 tonight. The car was going west in the College area this afternoon when CHP officers say that the driver lost control at Waring Road and hit an embankment. One passenger was killed, 2 others were injured, and the driver took off but was later arrested. CHP has issued a SIG alert in that area, shutting down 4 lanes at the crash site. And 2 City of San Diego employees could be in trouble for using handicap placards that don't belong to them. Someone spotted them parking in handicap spots at a city-owned building and reported that to the city auditor's office. The employees then lied about those placards and who they belonged to during the Public Utilities Commission investigation. There is now an independent investigation taking place to determine if city policies were violated and if the workers should be punished.
San Diego State University sports teams will continue to be called the Aztec Warriors, but the mascot is getting an overhaul. Outgoing President Sally Roush announced her decision over the controversial name today. SDSU sent out a survey to more than 200,000 alumni, faculty, and students earlier this year, asking their opinion of the Aztec nickname. The teams will keep the name, but the mascot will be given, quote, immediate and visible changes. The nicknames Monty and Zuma will be dropped immediately.